This is now GT time. I am the moderator, Kyle Bosman, and joining me is a very uniquely talented and knowledgeable panel. I'll get that line correct all the time. Brandon Jones, Daniel Bloodworth,
yes,
and Michael Damiani.
Hello.
And today, Brandon, you almost didn't make it. You had jury duty this morning.
Legally, I can't talk about it, so...
Okay, I'm sorry I even bring that up.
You.
This is episode 2 of GT Time, and I guess we should just roll into it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Huge week this week. GDC is happening right now, and just lots of things are coming out of it.
Yeah, they're watching the Shenmue talk or something, right?
They're watching some guy talk about Shenmue.
Some guy, it's Yu Suzuki, man. Holy crap. With Mark Cerny translating.
Is that really Mark Cerny who's translating?
That's what I was told.
Yeah, it sounds like him.
Some other guy is translating. Who knows if big news will come out of it. It's cool. It started off as Virtua Fighter RPG. That's what
Right.
Shenmue
Very
originated
weird,
as.
yeah.
Really cool. Our first story actually has nothing to do with GDC. Assassin's Creed Unity leaked today.
I wouldn't say that's nothing to do with GDC.
Why?
There's probably somebody at GDC with the laptop's like, hey, look at this.
With Kotaku? Because Kotaku is the one who had these images. What do you got to say?
Steven Tortillo, I want you to
Or
look
Schreier,
at this.
It was
and
Schreier.
Jason,
who
and
wrote the
Schreier,
story.
look at this. Now post.
Now post. You know what? I kind of feel
I'm
like
kidding.
I don't
That's
know.
not
I
what they
kind of
did.
feel like that's what. So Kotaku kind of just published these things, says our source told us these things and gave us these images. That's so weird to me. I want to read a tweet from Kotaku. We've got leaked images of Assassin's Creed Unity out on PS4 and Xbox One this fall. That tweet could have been from GameStop. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
right.
we've got these leaks coming, and it's coming out this fall on these platforms. What is Kotaku's job in all this?
Well, they're breaking news.
I mean, that is what the first thing you'd want to know. It's like, okay, what is it? What's the premise? And when? Is it going to happen this year? You know?
The question, I guess, is is their source really leaking, or is he leaking as part of a PR scheme? Right?
I exactly mean that. And it's just either way, I think it's their responsibility to show us those screenshots they were given, right?
Whose responsibility?
Kotaku's. If they were given those screenshots, they have to post it, right?
Oh, sure. Why wouldn't you?
Kind of that, yeah.
It's only going to benefit you, so... yeah, I don't really care that much. Mike?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just confused about 2 games coming out. I guess it's kind of like the next point is now there's
talk about that, yeah.
Unity and Comet, which are
The code name.
code
Yeah.
names. Although I do want it to be called Assassin's Creed 5 Comet, and it takes place in space. That would be pretty cool, actually.
Not Assassin's Creed 5, though, which is interesting.
Right.
It's Assassin's
Yeah,
Creed Unity.
they're
I
just
wonder if
calling
that
it-
sticks.
Yeah, but so Comet is coming out on now past generation systems, 360, PS3. No Wii U mentioned in any of this, and they said PC. And then Unity is the one for Xbox One and PS4, and they're coming out around the same time this fall. That strikes me as a little weird. Why wouldn't they put out just one version on all the platforms? Why would they? If Unity was the new one, the French Revolution setting is what they're saying is going to take place. Why isn't that on all platforms? And you just have the downport or whatever. Why making a separate game for that? I don't know. I'm trying to remember examples of when that's been done. Did they ever do that for Wii when 360 and PS3 had versions? Didn't they do that Call of Duty? Call of Duty
yeah,
got
there were games.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
That-
Call of Duty, that took a whole freaking team to do the Wii games.
That just
And then they had, fights with Infinity Ward or whatever, and it took 2
Yeah.
years for Modern Warfare to come out. But, I think it's just a kind of consequence of, if they're going to actually pursue new hardware, then at some point they're going to have to, not be able to do a downport. But I don't know. It's weird. I'm not sure if I totally put stock in everything that's been said yet. We'll see.
Brandon, if that's true, would you buy both of those games?
No.
You'd be all in on Unity.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, releasing them at the same time wouldn't make sense. But they've done that with the Vita and PSP and all that other stuff.
It sounds
too.
like a big
yeah.
story made out of a really
Inspiration.
small bit of information. All we know is that there's just going to be 2 different games. I think that somebody found that out or got that piece of information and got really excited about it. Oh wow, I wonder what that other game's going to be. And I think it's going to be the same game. It's just they're not gonna come out and say, oh, it's 1-to-1. It's the exact same experience. It might be a little bit cheaper. It might be It might be just like to not include the multiplayer or something that simple. And technically, that is a different game. It is a different experience.
Yeah.
Like Ubisoft is like, we feel we want to name that something different. Or just in the development phase right now, we don't have a name for it. We don't know if it's going to be Unity, Freedom, or Unity, whatever, or if it's actually going to have another name.
Well, one thing I will kind of bring up from the past, which was also Ubisoft, interestingly enough, the Splinter Cell games. Now, you would think that the Xbox and the PS2, pretty comparable systems, right? But those ports to the PS2 and the GameCube had significant changes to their level design because the PS2 and the GameCube couldn't handle the level designs they created for the original Xbox. And so there were like whole chunks of levels cut out of the original Splinter Cell. So I think what they may, like if they are in a point where it's like, well, we can't do this on the old systems, rather than having those comparisons be made, and go back to that age when we had like really downgraded games, making something that's somehow a companion to this game that fits within the framework.
Because this isn't a level-based franchise. This is open world. So like whatever they have in mind, they're like, we just cannot do this on the PS3 and the 360. I'm excited about that. That sounds great.
Like, doesn't it? It kind of like sucks a little bit that like Watch Dogs could be done on the consoles we already have now. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, it'll just look nicer on your next gen consoles.
Yeah.
It's exciting to me. Like, no, this one wouldn't work on your old consoles. We're finally making a game just for this.
Yeah.
And if you're still on your Xbox 360 or PS3, here's Comet. Comet's a cooler word than Unity.
Well, Comet stands out as being more of a code word. It's like, you're probably not going to call that game Comet. Unity maybe might happen, but that's how it's the Assassin's Creed Comet. That'd be pretty fun.
Space game.
Should be.
Why not, right? Like, why
unless
not?
it's just totally,
French
unless it's totally
Revolution's
like
so
the whatever
stupid.
precursor dudes,
Spacewalking
right?
assassinations. You can't hear anything. That would be perfect.
That is a really
Just,
cool
like,
idea, actually.
floating quietly.
Just this guy's floating slowly, and you're like approaching from behind.
Imagine in
Like,
Gravity if someone was trying to also kill Sandra Bullock along with all like the shit going wrong.
But
It
actually,
probably would have won the Academy Award.
Kyle,
Would've made it work.
remind me, is there anything in the article that says that both games are in the same era, or is it only talk about the French Revolution for
They do
Unity?
not mention what a Comet is about at
So
all.
I would hope that they would have those games be entirely different settings.
That sounds totally ridiculous.
It does sound ridiculous because
That sounds insane.
Yeah.
That sounds like, now we're suddenly
Like-
capable of like 20 times the output
Yes.
we've ever done. Like, that just
See,
seems illogical.
I totally buy your explanation for why they would do like the separate versions. Like that doesn't make sense hearing that and thinking about it a bit more now. The thing is, like, I just don't know if I want that much Assassin's Creed. Like,
Right.
what are they need? Like, I'm more concerned with them doing newer things like they did, like the focus on the naval warfare, the seafaring combat. What are they going to do in this next one? If there's two of them, it's like, are they going back to their old habits again? Just because there's such a large install base on the old consoles, we're going
Right.
to tap into that, but we got to get people buying new consoles so we can make $10 more for that next gen charge on the games.
Yeah, I could see it being something like Liberation, where it's like same time period, very different game, very like scaled back.
Also not playing that.
You never playing Liberation?
I only got time for one.
It's
Assassin's
not
Creed
sounding
game.
like it's
I
very
can't.
good.
I'm just, and that's great when somebody really loves a franchise. But like, I'm just not the type that's like, I got to play every single game of that particular franchise, especially if they're like bringing back the same locations and the same theme and stuff.
Yeah, I could get
Just
very
not.
tired easily. Yeah.
But if it is a totally different game, if like they produce a miracle and this is like the crazy Assassin's Creed modern ninja laser game that like, fans have pined for, like, I'll play that too, even if it's on old consoles. But I think it'll be like Diet Unity, basically.
Diet Unity.
Diet Unity.
That's like the perfect analogy. Big news coming out of GDC just this morning, yesterday, by the time this video posts, or podcast if you're listening. This is just audio. Epic announced on Wednesday morning that the Unreal 4 engine will be available on a subscription model. $19 a month will give developers access to everything needed to create a game, including the Unreal Editor and the engine's complete C++ source code hosted on GitHub. So
Is that like GIF and GIF?
it did.
GitHub.
It's probably GitHub.
Sorry.
No, please interrupt me anytime you want.
I have not heard that word out loud.
It
so I don't
sounded
know.
wrong. Like JIT is a bad word, isn't it? I feel like that's like
GitHub, like get it.
yeah, Git. Okay.
I don't know, maybe.
Ship games under this model, here's the interesting part, will also pay out 5% of gross revenue to Epic, from its game sales to users. Platforms include PC, Mac, iOS, and Android. Is this some like genius scheme by Epic or what?
I think they're just trying to like go after like Unity. Honestly, like trying to follow like similar models like that. I think they're just evolving with the times. I mean, they've been doing this for forever. What is it like? Tim Sweeney's been doing this since like mid '90s with the first Unreal. So they've just gone through those models, their business models over the generations, the console generations. This time, like people are doing business a little bit differently. We got to change the way we're doing business, and this is going to get more people like doing business with us. And anything that, honestly, in my opinion, is if anything that's going to get like more developers to get good tools to make better games, I'm all for that. I mean, money has to change hands at some point. Someone has to like make money off of this. But if it's enabling more people to do business and make games, then that's great for us. Like we want more games. We want people to have more choices and to have that. I mean, do you guys have any thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, this is one of those questions where I definitely would like to hear Pactor's take on things. I mean, this idea of 5% like flat, like this is what you're agreeing to is kind of crazy. You know, that it's just this blanket agreement, up front. Like the CryEngine, like anyone can like get that development kit and start working with the CryEngine, but for non-commercial use. But if you decide you're going to start charging money for a game, then you have to negotiate a deal with Crytek. So it's interesting that they're just kind of putting out this blanket program for people to get in and know that, like, well, we're going to be giving away 5% of our money even if we don't make enough to cover our costs.
Do you ever watch Shark Tank?
I watched Dragon's Den for a while, and I have seen a couple of Shark Tanks. Yeah.
So Shark Tank's a show where people come and bring their ideas, and they're like, "Oh, this is the product I want to sell. Please, like, give me some money so I can make it more." There's this one guy, Mr. Wonderful. His deal is always, "Okay, I'll give you this money if you give me 5% of everything that you sell." And they're like, "No, that's a horrible deal." Every time, he never gets that deal. But that to me is Epic. Epic's like, "Give me 5% of it," and it's just like. To them, I think it sounds like they're doing everyone a favor, and probably they are, but it seems 5% of gross revenue is pretty brutal. Yeah. I feel like.
Maybe I'm crazy, but like $19 a month sounds extremely cheap.
It is.
For access
it's
to like development.
Yeah, but it's a $19 a month you're paying to use the tools, and then on top of that, afterwards.
I mean, if you want to like sell, I get that people who wanted to make like just mods, people wanted to just mess around with it for fun. Now you have to pay. Like it is. I see where might be some like negativity surrounding that from some of the people in the mod community. But at the same time, it's like if you do make something really awesome, everything's in writing right there. You can just go ahead and turn around and start selling that if you want to. You don't have to jump through hoops to get like a secure license from Epic to make money off of that. It's a little bit more open and transparent, except for. Read the list of things, the platforms that this subscription...
Reread that again?
Yes.
PC, Mac, iOS, and Android. What's missing, Damiani?
I think there's some things out there called consoles. And they did get asked about that, and apparently they answered on Twitter, apparently, that they're going to have... Because for Xbox, they specifically mentioned Xbox One and PS4, there's a custom license to develop for consoles, and the reason they can't include it in the package that they're offering for everything else is because there are non-disclosure agreements and there's like patents and stuff towards hardware-specific code that they need to protect. And so you need to deal with them directly. You have to work out a special deal. I'm sure it gets like a bunch of more paperwork and other parties involved, like Microsoft or Sony, have to like look into it. But that's like their justification for it. But it basically translates to you're going to have to pay some lump sum. Instead of a percent, you're going to pay an upfront lump sum to get that license, and then you can make a console game. So I think the 5% is just applying to people who want to mess around with it and make PC only or the other platforms. But the old way where it's like, man, I don't like 5%. Let's just agree to like a one-time fee, and then we're done here. That's what big AAA studios are trying to. They're going to still be able to do that.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to read the comment that I pulled for this week. It's from a very snarky user named 2Girls1Cub. They realize that all the big publishers are dumping Unreal in favor of in-house solutions, so they're trying to make Unreal more indie-friendly. Not that that's a bad thing. I kind of feel like this is chasing that. It's like, okay, well, those companies are all off making their own next-gen engines.
Yeah. Well, we just saw the video for Massive's Snowdrop engine that's being used for The Division. And they kind of talked about, all the creative freedom it allows them because they've got their own team building the tools, and then their artists are able to work with them the way they want and prototype things and everything more quickly.
So you think we'll see less, like last generation, there were a lot of just games running on Unreal. Do you think we'll see that less in this next generation?
Probably. I think they're just, as you said, like more studios, bigger studios are turning in-house engines, and there's more options out there for independent developers. I think that's what we mentioned earlier, that like they're going after like the Unity audience.
I'd probably still use Unity if I were an indie guy.
I mean, they're probably more familiar with that. I mean, it's whatever reason they want to do it, but they're trying to just expand who would be interested in using Unreal 4. But yeah, every so often we just hear about like a new engine being developed for a new studio owned by like either EA or Activision, and it's like our new games are going to be running under this, and I think you are going to see a lot less of the Unreal watermark on those types of games.
Brandon, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Have you ever dreamed of making a game?
Hell yeah.
Like, to me, like, the appealing thing here is that $19 a month. Like, would you pay $19 just to, like, try playing around and making a game?
No.
Okay.
I mean, it's like...
Go.
Yeah, that is what I was...
Of like my brief dabbling in code, where I was
Yeah.
like, oh, let me try to learn code. Like I ran away screaming. Like it's really, really, really complex and difficult. So it's like you don't just make a game on a whim. And so I think anybody that is trying to figure out what license, if they want to build something themselves or if they want to like get with a company, it's not going to be something they're going to do because of an announcement like this.
I mean, you
I
can
don't think
barely
that's
make
really
a little
change
big
the
planet
tides.
level on a whim.
Sorry?
So you can barely make a little big planet level on a whim.
Oh, you absolutely
Right.
can.
I mean, you sort of
A good
can,
one.
But yeah, it's not going to be very interesting.
Side bet?
Side bet?
Bloodworth, give me an hour. I will make a decent level.
Okay.
And we'll have an impartial judge play the level. We won't tell that person who made it. And if that person gives that level a score of 6 or above, I have created a Little Big Planet level on a whim.
Okay.
Deal? Do you like those terms?
Okay, but you can't sit around and brainstorm what you're going to do before you do it.
Okay. Here's what we can do. You can give me a word, and I have to base the level off of that word.
Whoa.
So we'll do that. That'll be how we do it.
You really like Little Big Planet, don't you, Kyle?
I like it. I like
Okay.
Little Big Planet. If I win that bet, I get my title for this show in the beginning, instead of moderator, will be Master Level Designer.
Okay.
What do you want if you win?
I have no idea.
Bloodworth's title will be Always Correct 100% of the time. Just for one episode.
Okay.
Deal?
Sure.
Okay.
Can you make a Little Big Planet level on a whim?
How long's a whim, technically?
Yeah, we'll define
How long is a whim?
Yeah.
Because actually, so my own personal story, I was in the Little Big Planet beta, and I spent probably a week on my level. That did take a long time.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like a whim.
A whim's like
Yeah.
an hour, I think.
Yeah. So good point. Right. You can't. There's no garage band of game design. There's no just like, okay, I'll just drop this here and this okay.
Because you don't want to play that game.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So
RPG Maker.
It's
gotta be
close.
something
RPG
else.
Maker's close, but you're making pretty boring games regardless of what you enter in there.
And I think you don't just make one game. Like you want that game to make another game. Like you want to create a long-lasting environment, relationship with the company. It's not just something you're going to do to like save a little money on the side.
Yeah, I get
just
that.
for that first project. It's like let's start I'm making a studio, not just a game. And so it doesn't seem like kind of like the Fisher Price way to go about it.
What's
Just like
the Fisher Price way of going about something?
we're just not as serious.
I
Like
get
you
you,
were
yeah.
were saying, GarageBand coming out, but the professionals use the actual professional equipment. The stuff with all the bells and whistles.
Project Morpheus. They showed off their VR headset yesterday. It is still a project something. It's like us talking about Project Natal. But
And can anyone actually think of the word Morpheus without thinking of the Matrix now?
Yeah, I was
Totally.
like, where's Project Neo?
There's
Terrible.
an Arcade Fire song about Morpheus that is now my current thing that I think of.
Oh, okay, good.
Can't sing it because we get in trouble for that. But anyway, and then just more recently, Oculus Rift showed off their second development kit. Whatever Crystal Cove was is now development kit 2. And so there's like this little race. We already talked about VR a lot yesterday. Sorry, last week. So I want to play a game called Which One Looks Cooler.
All right.
Okay.
I wasn't in the presentation.
No. I got pictures.
I saw
just
both. I saw the
physically
videos.
looks cooler.
Yes. Which one looks cooler?
I think the Oculus looks cooler. because I think the Oculus looks like, hi, we are a tech company that is experimenting with virtual reality. Here's the latest model of our product that we are making. Whereas that looks like, okay, so here's VR. It just seems like an amusement ride or something. It just seems like really trying to look cool. Whereas this is just like jet black, night vision. Because this is gonna be on my face, So like, I don't want something that could possibly be not cool in like 3 months, Like I want something that looks like a remote, that looks like a DVD player, That's just like a very simple machine.
Absolutely. Bloodworth, where do you stand? Which one is cooler?
I mean, visually, I probably would side with the PlayStation, but just from their presentations, like I was a little bit more sold on the Oculus. It's like feeling like, okay, this, is going to be a more like substantial product, for the long term. Whereas, like, I think...
What did Sony do not to convince you? I mean...
I guess because, like, they're talking about the Move and all that stuff and reminding me of these, like, peripherals that they've had out there, but, like, they haven't necessarily changed gaming in any way. There's just this, this weird little optional thing that some people dig and some people don't.
It should be worth... Yeah, when they first started their presentation, they were showing VR headsets with, like, Move on them, attached to them, and like little bulbs, and I was so worried about how this presentation was going to end.
Right.
I was like, please don't let this be it. Please, oh my gosh. And it turned out to be this slick thing. Damiani, where do you stand? Which one's cooler?
Neither is the Virtual Boy.
Yeah, neither of them are virtual boys.
I'm kidding. No, Sony's is better at making like visuals, I guess, for their product renders.
Do you think this is what it'll look like when it finally comes out?
No.
Probably not.
Neither one of them.
Yeah, I mean, they're both development kits. They're not final products.
Absolutely.
Just that image looks better. Like, Sony obviously was like, hey, we want to doll this up and make this look good. Oculus like, no, this is the like actual development kit. This is what it looks like.
Yeah.
And I agree with Bloodworth. Watching the presentations, like, just watching the Oculus 2, their presentation, and they kept referring it to like DK2 or whatever, or instead of like development kit 2, like, this is the DK2.
Yeah.
Like, what was it called? Oculus? Oh, development kit 2.
Yeah.
God, I lost it.
No, it's weird. It's $350. You can buy it even if you're not a developer, and like if you just were as an enthusiast, you could buy this thing.
Well, everyone hearing all the people talk about Oculus in that video, like there were a lot of buzzwords and stuff they were saying. Like when the one guy says, "Take it to the next level," it's like, oh, really? We're gonna keep saying that? But then Carmack comes on and he just says stuff like, "We were so focused on pixels and stuff, and we got it to 120 hertz and OLED and or OLED. Like we're gonna nail that." But then Valve, he started praising Valve and stuff. Like he's really fun to listen to. Like sometimes I have no interest, but just hearing him talk, it's just like, man, I can listen to this guy for a while. That's why they have him speak at QuakeCon for so long. They did a better job in their video of convincing me. They've been doing this for a while. They already have all this feedback from the first development kit. It's like, we know what we're doing. We're making improvements. We got Carmack on board full time.
But the thing that was encouraging is that Sony is also start giving us feedback. They're kind of they're in a way they are really a step behind Oculus in the sense that Oculus has been putting this in the hands of developers all over the place. People have been toying with it. People have been giving them feedback, and Sony's like, okay, here it is. Now you guys start playing with it and let us know what you think.
Yeah,
so it's they're both probably a long way off, but it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I trust Sony. They have the right mentality about it, and with with Oculus already out there, they have something to look at and take also feedback or maybe even cherry pick. Here are the things people really like about that. Let's start putting that into us. I just feel a little bit better about the team that they have on Oculus right now and what they've been able to show off with it. That might change. That's not always how it plays out. But at this point, whatever. Sony makes better pictures for presentations, and Oculus has better information and better job of convincing.
Well, you know what? I think probably what my reaction is the way it is. I think is probably because Oculus, this is it. This is why the company exists. This is the one thing that they have to make and they have to get right. Sony, they can put R&D and they can try this out, and if it fails, it's okay, we'll move on to the next thing. So I think maybe that's why I kind of have that sense of okay, is this going to be a mini disc or a PlayStation Eye or that kind of thing?
Go ahead, Brian.
For me, it's a desperation. It's you look at the guys from Oculus and they're like, hey, we're working on this project. This is where it is so far. And when we improve it more, we'll release another model. And thanks for your help. And we'll move on forward into the fun, fascinating world of VR. Whereas with Sony, it's like, please God, buy this. Please buy this. Otherwise, this is so pointless for everything we've done. Whereas like Oculus, like you just don't get that vibe that they're that desperate. So for me, it's desperation. It's the same thing because there are rumors that Microsoft is doing the same thing. So
that one, yeah.
I feel the same way about them. It's like then it really feels like a gizmo. Whereas like with Oculus, it's like, cool, take your time. Like that's like I'm excited about VR, not right now, but I'm excited about VR in the future.
Sure, I've seen a lot of people saying the same in the comments below on that story. It's just like, yeah, not yet. Everyone.
Right.
It'll get there.
And those guys are like SpaceX. They're just that's what they're going to do. Like everyone involved, like you said, is so madly in love with this concept. They're like, this is all I want to be doing. Mm-hmm. So I'm not coming to this event to do a big PR jump, for our project. We're going just to talk to you guys about what we've been working on.
Yeah, VR for some reason feels more real than 3D. I remember when 3D TVs were happening, there was a lot of just, this is the next thing, this is going to be great, everyone will have 3D TVs. And you never believed it. With VR, I kind of believe them. I believe the passion that these people have. I believe it can be something someday. Hopefully. I want to believe. Something that this next story might be huge. I think it honestly might have weird big waves. Walmart is getting in the used games business. Am I the only one who thinks this is enormous? What you can do is you can go to Walmart, you can trade in a game, and they'll give you money, Walmart money back.
You can buy milk.
Food, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You can buy groceries.
That is crazy.
Can you imagine parents doing that to their kids?
Oh my God.
You come home, what?
I was like, that's where it's going to go.
Where's all?
Yeah. No, that is.
Your dad needed some beer. Like, that was my PS2 library, Mom. Got a six-pack.
Yeah, that is,
Walmart
that is
is
the
a
reality.
pawn shop.
It's good.
The
Walmart,
conversion rate can't be good.
because that's a scary
No, it
thing.
actually is right now.
Yeah, they're offering ridiculous prices. You can go to the site now, actually, and
Wow.
see what they'll offer you for games. They'll give you $38 for New Super Mario Bros.
Wow.
Like, take that, GameStop.
That's for now.
Super Mario Bros.
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
Super Mario 3D World?
Super Mario 3D World.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're just trying to hook people in right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said.
Those prices won't hold.
They're desperate for inventory right now, so.
Well, here's the thing is, Walmart's crazy. I believe that can hold. Walmart is willing to make the minimal amount of money on most of the things they sell. That's like their business. That's how they became what they are today, is selling a lot of things by making a little bit of money. I think they could really chomp into GameStop if this pulls off.
Dude, those giant bins full of DVDs, you're going to have used games now. You're
That
going to
is
have to
crazy.
filter through this crap to try to find the one good game that's in there.
And this might be my prejudice, but I don't want to buy a used game from Walmart.
No one's forcing
Am I
you.
bad for that? Brandon, would you go to Walmart and get a used game?
No.
Doesn't that why? What is that?
I don't know.
It's cheaper. Why shouldn't we
Not-
get used games from Walmart? You know what I mean? What is that feeling? Why don't we want to?
It just feels like a weird place to game. I mean, I guess you
Yeah.
can do everything. You can get camping equipment or cheese. So I guess there's all sorts of things you can do there. But it just doesn't seem. I mean, this is probably one of the last big pushes because we're really moving into a digital era. I think if it doesn't happen this gen, it'll happen next gen. As far as just finally detaching ourselves from
It's
having
not
to
like
have
they have
physical
a
objects.
huge game section to begin with, right? So, is this
I mean,
mostly...
it's enormous.
Depends on the one you.
It depends
go
on
to,
the
I
one you
guess.
go
I've been
to,
to some
but I
pretty
mean,
big
it's
Walmart.
you've got a little case of this and that next to the CDs and everything else, so... I don't know.
But
It doesn't feel that big to me.
But those people there don't really know anything about games. It's just I don't know,
Yeah.
it just doesn't seem. I just get your games online. It just seems like the way. I don't know. They're starting to have similar sales now, and it's just so much easier. So actually dealing with a Walmart store for video game entertainment kind of seems like something that won't go up in popularity.
But I mean, you don't have to go to the store. You can also use it on their online on the shop.
Yeah,
So
you
if they're
can
going to sell
send it
used
in.
games online.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I
then.
just think it always comes out whenever we look at MPD and sales and stuff. It was a big deal when Walmart was at it because even Packers, if you listen to them, most consumers the biggest sales are driven by the bigger stores. GameStop is big, but having a game stocked at Walmart is actually a bigger deal because
Right,
more people go to a Walmart. I mean, it's probably changing. I mean, this is just going off what other people have said, but I mean, people buy more stuff online and stuff. But it seems like when you go into a physical store, it felt like maybe for the past 2 generations, Walmart was huge. Like people are buying a lot of games at Walmart. We might not have been like going there, and we might not have been paying attention to it, but like the average person was like probably going there to buy their game.
I mean, still, yeah. If you look at the NPDs, like that's where they're going for Madden. That's where they're going for Call of Duty. Is probably Walmart.
Honestly, I like this. The more people who try and do this, it's going to just force everyone to be a little bit more competitive. And I do hope like Walmart offers those higher like trade-in rates, because it's just going to force GameStop to be a little bit more competitive. Like, hey, we can't like abuse this anymore. Here's $10 for the newest Mario or newest Call of Duty, like less than a week after it came out. Here, we'll give you $10 for that. Then we'll turn around and sell it for $55 or $54.99, like $2 cheaper than the new version or something like that.
Walmart doesn't care. Walmart will be like, hey, we'll make 20 cents off this, and we'll be happy with that. Walmart's so scary. They'll push anyone out of business. But you'll dance on their grave. On GameStop's grave.
I don't want them to go away. I just want them to be a little bit more competitive. I want more people to have options. Like Best Buy, I don't even know if they're still doing it. Best Buy tried doing this with games only. I don't think they offered you store credit. I think it was just towards games. I might be wrong, but I thought it was just a strictly game-only policy.
I think you got Best Buy gift cards, actually.
So if you did, then, I mean, that's Best Buy. They only sell electronics there, but Walmart offers a lot more. I don't know how successful Best Buy's was. I didn't follow it after the announcement. But Walmart, I think, could be a little bit more successful because Best Buy's kind of on its way out. It's been like declining, but a lot of people still use Walmart because it offers more than just electronics there.
It's got that six-pack. Yeah.
Walmart sold cars. I want someone to like be the first person to trade in enough games to buy a car.
They have tire shops and stuff.
Like an actual car.
Yeah. Sure.
Like a Mercedes-Benz.
That would be more games than you could like fit in a room, though.
That'd be like more than all the games ever released traded in.
Yeah. When was the last time you traded in a game?
I think I do it like once a year, maybe.
Really?
I don't trade
just like all of like the stinkers that you
ended up maybe not even once a year, maybe once every few years. I will see like a bunch of games that like either I just haven't played in a long time, and I just don't see any reason why I'm going to be playing them in the future. I only remember like 2 or 3 times in the last like since I've actually lived down in California I've ever gone to GameStop and been like, it's usually been a big stack of games. Like here you go, here's a bunch of games. And it's usually when I want to buy a bunch of new games. Like all of a sudden there's a bunch of JRPGs coming out or a new console. Like that's what I did before. Like the PS4 is coming out. I want to get a PS4. What can I trade in to make this cost a little bit less? Like it's for certain types of releases, but I don't do the whole. I bought a new game, I beat it, and then I like try and turn it back in like really quickly to get as much money back on it. I've really never done that.
Yeah. Played any trading games?
I think before I worked at GT, there was a time where like I took in a couple of bad games that I had reviewed, and
hold on, you sound like you're being guilty right
now.
The way you're delivering the story.
I'm not supposed to bellow or something, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyways, so I took in a couple of like bad games that I had reviewed, and they offered me such a little amount. It's like, nope. This is worth more to like hang on to and make fun of.
And so that was it forever. That was the end of it.
Basically, yeah.
That's really interesting.
It's like it's not worth the whatever I'm going to get out of it. It's like you're going to give me a couple of bucks per game. Forget that.
And then Brandon, I feel like I've seen just binders full of. I feel like you never trade in a game.
No, because it's all gone towards work ever since the turn of the century.
Yeah, Hunter's give piles of stuff to me
video
for the library.
game, video production.
Brandon has a really fun office because you can walk in and he's got like just binders full of PS1 discs. It's just awesome.
Just one PS1 binder.
Yeah, just as
but
one.
I do sometimes wish it was like a magical PS1 binder. It's like anytime you open it up, like everything you want is in there. Every PS1 game ever. I also think that used games are kind of like fossil fuels. I feel like it's not something that's going to be around like forever.
Yeah.
So these big kind of pushes to try to like gobble this stuff up. I think you can only kind of dip into that well every now and then before it's like everyone's PS2s are broken now and all these discs are deteriorated and it just doesn't seem like something that
deteriorated? Maybe in 1,000 years.
I don't know.
It'll happen. Remember when Dreamcast games had disc rot? It was bad.
Disc rot?
Yeah.
Whoa. Dude.
Bad manufacturing, but
crazy.
Yeah, it happens.
Put all your PS2 games in a microwave. We'll see what happens, Kyle.
I won't. It looks like you had one final point, Damiani.
I was going to say, I tried to trade in a game to GameStop once. It was some Wii game that was sent to me like in 2007, and it was some like rhythm dance game. I don't remember what it was called, and I ended up having to throw it away, which I wish I didn't, because GameStop couldn't take it for a trade-in because it was a Walmart exclusive game. And GameStop would not take trade-ins for games that weren't in their system. If it wasn't in their system, they have a problem. So I tried trading it in. They're like, we just can't find this. And finally, they looked it up like, this is a Walmart exclusive game. I was like, oh, so I can't do anything with it? And like, no, you're kind of like, you could sell it online or you're stuck with it. And I was like, oh, okay. And I didn't want to take the hassle to like sell it online, so I just like threw it in the trash. I was like, but now I could have traded into Walmart. Probably would have been like.
I'm mad you left out the beginning of that story. Why did you own this rhythm dancing game in the first place? Like,
I forget I went to GDC and E3 before, so I was probably on some mailing list. And they were just probably like, this game was probably like, we just want this out there. We just want, we don't care. Would someone please maybe write something about it? Where it's like a Hail Mary pass we're going to send to anyone we've ever had on our mailing list. And just sent them out, I guess.
Fly.
And I just like looked at it, I was like, what is this?
And it turns out it's a Walmart exclusive.
It's a Walmart exclusive. They had to looked it up on Google, and they're like, yeah, this is a Walmart exclusive. I'm not seeing it stocked anywhere else.
That Chibi Robo game for DS was a Walmart exclusive.
Oh, Chibi Robo, you're right.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, of course. One last news story we got to cover is we've seen some new controllers over the last week. We saw a purportedly leaked image of the Amazon controller for the rumored Amazon console, which I think we should just accept is coming now. Do you know what I mean? We should stop calling it the rumored Amazon controller.
And it's
not
a dongle, right?
But
sorry? But what?
I mean, that thing is so boringly designed. I don't think it necessarily means that there's an actual console. They could just be getting into the PC space because that's the same layout as the Xbox controller, and they could be selling controllers to people to play on PCs, since that's what's already like all the drivers are set up and all the button configurations are set up for.
So just for some pretext of why the images of this controller
like they could be
exist.
making like a Steam competitor rather than an Xbox competitor.
Man, there's so many rumors about an Amazon console. Why would you even deny them? Like, why would you say none of those are true?
But I mean, it's. I'm just saying, like from the evidence, like they're wanting to be compatible with something. Mm-hmm. They're wanting to whether they have a console or not. They're wanting to make it easy for games that already exist to map to this controller.
Absolutely. Android buttons even on this thing exist. I mean, the console rumors it's an Android-based console.
That makes sense. If those are Android buttons, I'm not as familiar with the Android interface.
Blood, are we about to do another side bet?
Side bet?
Yeah. I'm saying Amazon console for sure is real. Is anyone willing to bet against the
Oh, I know
that
for
it's gonna be
a
a
fact
console?
that Amazon is gearing up for something. I just don't know what it is.
It's a console.
And do you
What
think
can
it's
I
going
do
to be a
to convince
traditional
you all?
console?
Yeah.
And, do you think it's going to be like a traditional like regular console that we're used to, or is it going to be kind of a gaming service? Like you buy
Or is it going to be both, like the Steam box?
Yeah, I'm not going to quote this because I only just read a headline about some kind of dongle, like the Chromecast that Amazon's putting out that delivers game service.
I'm
supposedly.
saying it'll be more than a dongle.
Okay, so it's going to be an actual piece of hardware that you have that you run the games
That's
either
my
digitally
guess.
or disc-based or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm agreeing with you that something's coming out. But I see that controller, and to be fair, that could be a prototype that they're still working on.
It definitely is a prototype.
That looks horrible.
It's definitely a
To
prototype.
me, and it looks functional, but that looks horrible to hold, especially compared to that controller above it.
So to everyone listening, actually, we should explain what this thing looks like.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine, I guess, a flat Wii U gamepad with no screen squished together and with no round edges. That's basically how it
looks like the
design.
Wii. I mean, the positioning of it looks like a normal Xbox 360 controller with the
asymmetric analog sticks.
Which is odd because I thought I saw an Amazon controller where it looked more like the Wii U Pro controller.
Whoa.
But I think that one might have been fake. So
Okay.
this is the one we have. It looks more like Xbox.
Has
but
Amazon logo
form
right on it.
factor, it looks like a hybrid of the Xbox One's matted material, like that the Xbox One controller, like the material they use for actual controller, but the surface area of the Wii U. It's this looks really weird. It's like an amalgamation of all the different parts of the standard controllers out there.
So I should also mention that. So the context of this is that it was Brazil's version of the FCC, where they have to send it in.
Okay. Because they had really.
To me, that's
shots.
so sketchy that this could easily be a fake
Brazil.
thing. Yeah, Brazil's FCC is the reason why we have these images, But then look at the new Steam controller.
The boombox
buttons
controller
is what they've added.
Yeah.
Now we have a D-pad that is 4 buttons, which I think I've never seen in my life.
Oh, no, I mean,
They're technically
That's
buttons,
pretty-
but just
Yeah,
like
I mean,
circle
yeah.
buttons
There
for
have been
D-pads.
I mean, they
D-pads
don't
have
look
done
like
that.
rounded buttons usually for like D-pad stuff. They usually look like square or triangle.
Well, technically,
Yeah.
the 64 was a D-pad. Those yellow buttons.
The yellow
Yeah.
C buttons.
Yeah,
sure,
those were little
yeah.
weird buttons.
for the
But
camera
no,
controls.
64 had a D-pad. You guys are all crazy. This
Oh yeah,
is,
you're right. No, it did.
This
No,
is
they're-
the
they're
D-pad of this controller.
There are fighting game controllers that people prefer to use it. All the directional inputs are
Because you
buttons.
can do like rounder motions easily,
It's for 2D only 2D fighters. It's
Yeah.
It's easier for them to
like
do
half
this.
circles and stuff like that. That makes sense actually.
But when I look at that, it looks like a speaker type thing, like the analog groove spots.
Speaker
It
definitely.
looks
Yeah.
like it looks like a bat controller. Like it's gonna like
So,
spread its wings.
The
and
strangest
fly
thing about this
and eat me.
controller, as opposed to any other controller I've ever seen, is that your hands go into it.
Right.
You know,
right.
you're not like holding onto it necessarily. You're holding into it, and I think that's cool for like moving around and looking around using the speakers, as Damiani calls them. But then like I feel like pressing buttons will be weird if you're already reaching inside of it. Do you know what I mean?
I don't want that at all.
Okay. Oh yeah, let's just play the game.
Yeah.
Which one's cooler?
Well, the top one's cooler.
What is the top one for people listening?
The top one is the Steam.
Yep.
That's that black
Kyle, you
one.
better deliver on this audio
This
podcast.
audio podcast is coming. I'll mention that at the end of the show.
Yeah, I mean, it looks sleeker. It certainly had a better photo shoot. But I'm just not a fan of the inward buttons. I mean, we can get into that, but
Okay.
Blood, what do you think?
Which one's cooler?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely into the Steam controller. I mean, I would like to try it. I want to see whether these things are actually beneficial.
Yeah.
It does seem strange to be sliding around on these little pads.
By the
rather-
way, that's why the which one is cooler segment exists, is because all we can do is speculate at this point. So I love getting it as much on the surface as possible.
I mean,
Yeah.
in a way, all we can do is speculate. But I mean, the Amazon one just looks like some Mad Cats ripoff of the Xbox 360.
What if
pad,
it
so-
feels great though? What if those those stiff edges are like, whoa, this feels actually really good.
This feels like the old Xbox controller.
Suddenly I like asymmetrical analog sticks. But Damiani, which one's cooler?
The Half-Life 3 controller looks better.
oh man, if
gosh.
I'm forced to play Half-Life
But-
3 with that controller,
Oh,
I won't
my
play
gosh.
it.
You won't
Yes,
be
you
forced.
will.
I
You won't be
probably
forced.
will.
Yeah.
And until I
don't
hold
feel
that
good
thing
about
and
it.
actually play something with it, yeah, I will still side with like the more for what I would rather play with, more
Yeah.
traditional controller.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what those little speakers feel like controlling a game, but who knows until then.
It should like light up and stuff when you push those. That'd be kind of cool.
Did you ever use the NES Max?
Max?
Yeah,
Do you
instead
mean
of
the
it.
arcade stick?
No.
That was the advantage.
It was. It had like instead of a D-pad, it had this circular thing.
Oh yes, now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yes, yes,
but
yes,
it had this
I
weird
played with that,
slider
yeah.
in the middle.
No, I didn't
The
like
slider
that.
didn't actually have the input. It was the circular thing around it. It was like a big circular button. It was weird.
Steam controller is the NES Max of 2014, is what you're saying.
It's not really, but it reminds me of
The
it.
Super Max.
Anyway, yeah, we are running long. So the big bet at the end of the show is the bet we always do. This week's big bet. So Ground Zeroes has come out this week. And you guys know I like to look at like trophy percentages and see like on the PS4 you can see like how many people have earned this trophy. How many people will have beaten Ground Zeroes by this point next week of the people who own it? Damiani.
We had 66%.
66 is what Dami puts down. Okay. Blood.
68.
Okay.
79.
79. Now I'm going low. I'm going to go with 60%.
The price is right.
Yeah, dude, this is fun. But we don't do closest or over. It was just do closest. And last week, Bloodworth won our bet. Our big bet was who would be at the number 10 slot on the NPDs. Your guess was
Minecraft Xbox
Minecraft
360.
Xbox 360, which actually got the number 9 slot. None of us guessed Bravely Default would be number 10.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
That'd be higher than that.
So, Bloodworth wins the bet. So you get to close us off.
All right. Well, thanks for watching this week, and apparently I get to talk about Backtrack, so that's cool.
That's another. Sorry, that's
Yeah.
another thing you win if you close off.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
you get to
plug your own
plug.
show.
Get to plug my own show.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Backtrack, if you don't understand the name, it's referring to soundtracks, and basically it's a show about music and video games. And I'm trying to get out an episode every month. I had one that just went up a little bit ago. And have a great week.
Oh, and you know what I forgot? I forgot to say in this episode? I won my bet against Damiani because Brady would fall in the thing, and then he forgot his hat.
Right. Well, then you had to.
Couldn't say
It was a moot point.